Oh, what the... Ugh. Okay, fine. I'm up. Jeez, this is the worst alarm clock ever. Except for that Mr. Rossetti one. Anyways, hey everybody, I'm CPC Gamer, and welcome to Let's Play something that's not the thing that I said that it would be that I would Let's Play next. Blasphemy! I don't know. I've just been in the mood for playing this lately, and by your association and my compulsion I have to record everything I own, so have you. So let's play Dream Mix TV World Fighters! In Japanese! You can kind of tell what's going on based on the pictures on the TV, so let's enjoy some bondage fun, why not? And for a more thorough explanation of what's going on, I turn you over to my co-hosts. Guys, if you please.
Hi, 皆さん、今日もワールドファイターズの時間がやってまいりました。
はい、司会はこの俺、無情と。
新人アナの春菜です。
この番組では各界のスターをお招きして、
この番組で用意した全6ステージにチャレンジしていただきます。ルールは簡単。相手を攻撃してライフを飛ばし、ライフをエンプティにしたらさらに攻撃。相手をダウンさせてキャラ玉を奪い取れば勝ち。ね、簡単でしょ？どんなステージが用意されているかは挑戦者次第。はてさてどうなることやら。はい、そういうわけで今日の挑戦者はこの方です。
Thanks, guys. That made perfect sense. Or no sense at all, I can't decide. Anyways, this is a mascot fighter featuring representatives from Konami, Takara, and Hudson Soft. And look at the cast list they put together. You've got Simon Belmont, Twinbee, perhaps not so good, Solid freaking Snake, Tyson Granger has turned up, Optimus Prime is here, there's Megatron, Bomberman, perhaps a slightly less impressive showing from Master Higgins and Yugo Ogami. That guy is a jerk and can go straight to hell. Now, okay, initially, I was going to play as this lass, but screw that noise because Megatron. Before we begin, I have to show off this geekery. In terms of colour palettes, you've got your standard Megatron, obviously, Golden Megatron from Beast Wars Japan 98, the Gunrobo MC12 model, and Black Chrome Megatron, an eHobby exclusive figure. But enough prattling, let's transform and rise up! By the way, they do that colour thing with Optimus Prime too. All of his palettes are obscure figure recolours exclusive to Japan too. And already we can see why this is the best game in the world. Optimus versus Megatron in front of Constructicon Devastator. I think I just had a fanurism. Although I suppose it does kind of ruin things that they put the climactic final fight right at the beginning of the tournament, thus destroying any heat they could potentially build. What, is Vince Russo booking this thing? And I hope you're watching this, Darth, because that joke was for you. It's also strangely appropriate given this is effectively an object on a pole match. Anyways, in terms of moves, we've got a few basic melee moves. And if we push the circle button, we use our special move, which in our case is to turn into a gun. Because Megatron turns into a gun and not a jet. Because you know who turns into a jet? Jetfire and Starscream, and not Megatron, because Megatron turns into a gun. Frenzy is red, Rumble is blue, and yeah, Soundwave doesn't actually know what a CD is. Canon is very important, you guys. Although speaking of canon, this guy, he's only known as Optimus Prime in the UK and America. In Japan, he's called Convoy, and he has been since he was very first created. Initially, he was part of a series called Diaclone, wherein he was, well, basically just a giant robot mech that they called on in times of trouble. The whole sentient robot thing came later. And we'll come to that later on as well. By the way, the percentage there, that's the ratings that we scored for that particular fight. 41% of the people in Japan saw that fight. Not too bad, I guess. Okay, round 2 is against Bomberman. Except not called that because this is a Japanese game and in Japan he's called Shirobon, which means white bomb. I think bon is the Japanese word for bomb. Or it could be the sound that a gigantic comedy bomb makes when it explodes. Or, I could be making this up as I go along. I do tend to do that a lot, you know? Actually, it's part of my job, you know. By day, I do whatever it is that I do with myself, and by night, I'm the resident statistician at the South Cheshire Institute for Spurious Statistics. We used to be called South Cheshire Institute for Spurious Statistics and Ornithological Research Studies, but we had to change our name when it turns out we don't actually do anything ornithological. We just called ourselves that so we could have the acronym SCISS. Amongst my duties, I also come up with all the made-up names for, like, the health foods, and I also invent the problems that the latest beauty treatment will solve. Aw, dick move, Bomberman, what the hell? Yeah, I come up with things like, oh, the advanced levels of Verpadramin K5 help prevent subdentifusion and having a mullet. Which is a thing that still happens, apparently. Oh yes, 100% rating. Everybody in Japan saw that fight. Not sure why.
いやー、今回の挑戦者は強いね。ここまで来るとは正直。
興奮しちゃったんでこんな登場の仕方で盛り上がってみたんですけどねえ無常さんあれ仕方ないですねもう番組を続けましょうステージ2までクリアした挑戦者にはさらなる難関が待ち受けていますなんとこの次のステージ3は対戦相手が2人も登場2人を同時に相手しながら勝ち残らなければなりませんさあ挑戦者の運命はいかにチャンネルはそのままで
If you didn't gather from that frenetic and exceptionally well-written cutscene, we're going to be fighting two guys now. In this case, Hugo Ogami and Twinbee. Perhaps an odd combination, but well, at least all three companies are represented in the fight. Which is actually something that kind of bugs me about the game. I don't know if it's like an ego thing or some kind of political barkle, but every character has their own individual story route, and there is no deviation, there's no randomness, and each story route is set up in such a way that all three companies are represented equally. I would much sooner see, you know, some degree of randomness or spontaneity in the fights, because with Megatron you always start off fighting Prime, and then Bomberman, and then these two, and so on and so on and so on. So, Hugo Ogami is the main character from Bloody Roar, or at the very least he's the guy that they put on the front of the box. And he's a zoanthrope, as the game calls it, which basically means he's a shapeshifter. He can transform into a werewolf. Twinbee is from a series of games called, imaginatively enough, Twinbee, and they're a series of cartoony, side-scrolling shoot-'em-up games. He also turns up in the Parodius series, which is pretty great, and you guys need to check out the Parodius series if you haven't already. It's basically Konami lampshading everything that they do in all of their shoot-'em-up games. Anyways, with this fight over, I think it's time to call it a video. So until next time, goodbye.